still probably going to have that Leshrac either in the farming position or mid. Probably mid, though, because we already see the Gyro, and Havos kind of plays both of the heroes. And I don't think I've seen Dendi Gyro before. So if that happens, that would be kind of a treat, though, because something new. But Alliance now, after their Wisp and their Beastmaster, I think they'll probably just save their Wisp partner hero for a little bit later on, try to secure themselves a little bit of better lanes. I would even say, like, Vengeful Spirit I thought was a really nice pick last game against the Beastmaster. This game, I think it would actually be very good against what Na'Vi have currently, for the same reason that, like, Winter's Curse is a very good tool for disabling. You can still try to save for that, but they're going to stick with what they know. They're going to go ahead and pick up the Bane, which I still feel is very strong.
I think Man loves this hero.
Yeah.
Even back in the day when he played for...
Oh, they get them both? All right. So
MTW, right? Where I think Matt played before?
MTW, yeah. That was like 2 years ago, wasn't it?
I think so.
Something like that?
Way back. He loves this hero. But Earthshaker, like you said, being picked out. I still imagine that Soneko is going to play the Winter Wyvern and have Arsal play the Shaker.
It could also be Funnic Shaker, depending.
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. How has Dendi's Leshrac has been for you?
I mean, it's one of those heroes where...
much, honestly.
I don't feel like... When I watch Leshrac, I don't think it's one of those heroes that has a ridiculously high skill cap, right?
Well, the items that he gets generally don't require skill cap. It's the Yules for the guaranteed setup, the Bloodstone for the ultra tankiness, Glimmer Cave for more tankiness. We don't see like Blink Yules, or sorry, Blink Leshrac, for example. Yeah. It's just not that good of a build.
Yeah, I think for me personally, when I watch Na'Vi, I prefer to see Dendi on heroes where he can really shine. Like Queen is, I think, a much higher skill cap hero than Lesh, in the sense that Leshrac is fairly immobile. Like, he walks around, he gets into the middle of team fights.
Right.
And for the majority of the laning phase, you're just throwing out Lightning Storms as CS, right? So,
Viper.
Yeah, Viper is still very solid here. It's a hero that PyCat loves, by the way. Viper and Sniper, the two rhyming heroes that are probably the bane of most pub games, at least in 6.83. But this is a great lane bully. I'm not sure how well it does against Lesh. Probably stops him from using Lightning Storm to CS as freely, because he will take a bit of damage from Corrosive. But I still think Na'Vi have the tools to be able to gank and burst him down during the mid game. I think the Alliance just always want to have heroes who can fight, like, all the time.
Okay, I know this is a long shot, but is there any chance to see a Beastmaster mid, Viper safe lane by Loda, and an Emerald Bulldog Lone Druid? Just to give him one of the strongest push possible. Quick mech from Viper, quick aura from Beastmaster. This is like playing it from a year or two ago. It's almost unheard of now for Beastmaster to go aura, simply because the boar and the axis is so important for the early game. You farm for the quick necro, and then you pick up the aura.
I guess my one question to that would be, has PyCat played Beastmaster before? Like...
I'm not sure.
I think it's almost exclusively been Bulldog who plays the hero. So
and again, to be fair, that hero to me is one of the best offlaners now.
Yeah. That's also because we saw last game, right?
Yeah.
Like, in a situation where he was even in the lane that got ganked, Bulldog was still able to make a lot happen with just having a book 3 and getting Aurora off, killing Funnic a few times, when Funnic had like 1.5 times his own net worth. So I think the hero is in good hands and very capable hands in the Bulldog here. But ban out from Na'Vi is actually going to be Ursa. So they're assuming the Ursa Wisp pairing very good for being able to abuse Roshan, which the sides have switched this game, by the way. As last game, Na'Vi were playing on Dire, now Alliance are going to be Dire for game number 2. And Darkseer last ban out from Alliance. So Na'Vi, they are going to be able to get their hands on a Chen, and that does mean we're going to be seeing the Funnic Shaker. Okay, so he played 2 Beastmaster games in LGD Int and 1 with Alliance. So yeah, very seldom does he play the hero, is what we're getting at.
I don't think that will be the case. I'm also very curious on the statistic, if Noxu could look it up for us. What's the win rate when you get both Gyro and Leshrac? Because to me, those two are the most successful heroes of this patch.
I think they're actually picked together a lot. Like, I'm not sure what the win rate is. I'm just saying, like, you commonly see these heroes paired together.
Because you generally give away Undying or Wisp, and you just immediately snap up those two, right?
Yeah. I mean, looking at it on paper, I think that Na'Vi have a ridiculous amount of control. Like, you have Chen for the early gank, or maybe you even have lane strong enough to where he can just farm up if he wants to go for, like, quick arcanes or maybe a mech. You have offlane Shaker, and Funnic is obviously very capable on it. Sonico on Winter Wyvern, who I would say he single-handedly won his team the game with his ultimates on the hero the other day. And Alliance actually going to be going with the Wraith King carry. Interesting. I actually like this a lot.
It's amazing pick this game.
As most melee heroes you would really want to stray away from if you're playing against Winter Wyvern, for obvious reasons, because you could very easily get kited, or you just get cursed and then you die before the curse duration ends. But if you have 2 lives, then you might be able to either bait out BKBs, you might be able to go in and eat enough spells to where your Viper, your Bane, your Beastmaster can make some work happen. So I'm curious to see how this works out. This is a hero I have not seen played very much lately.
Here's the big concern you have for Wraith King. Wraith King by himself is not going to output too much damage simply because of what Winter Reverend could do. You just popped it on the Ice Block, and what is he has to switch target. He's going to get kited. With that said, Radiance just got buffed. And Radiance late game on Wraith King is actually one of the most annoying things you could possibly deal with. He's very tanky. He's got 2 live. I'm not sure if he's going to get Radiance, but
I think Radiance would be a little bit risky, at least as a first item.
Not as a first item. I'm talking about third, fourth item, but that's really far down the road. Let's talk about the heroes and the players. Alliance on the side of Dire, effing mad on that Bane that he loves so much. Pycat sort of going on the off lane right now. No, it looks like they're just contesting the rune. He's playing the Viper. We have Loda playing the Wraith King. Ake on his famous Wisp. And last but not least, Amaro Bulldog playing Beastmaster for a second time, and honestly, he played it very well last game.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what he can make happen this game, because it was a very good performance, even though they managed to not win that one. But Na'Vi here, we have Funnick. We're going to be seeing on the Earthshaker. Next to him is going to be Dendi, handling Leshrac. We're going to have Vos playing Gyrocopter. We're going to have Artstyle playing on the Chen, and lastly, that leaves Sonico on one of his signature heroes. Again, it seems like his Shaker and his Winter Wyvern are just on a completely different level whenever I watch him play this.
Are we going to get to a point where those hero gets targeted? Maybe not in the first phase, but
it's hard to target a Winter Wyvern though.
That's true.
Because all of his abilities have pretty significant range. The one
no,
downfall,
target as in target ban him.
Oh, you mean ban out the Winter Wyvern. I think because of what happened in the first game and the Broodmother coming out as a 5th pick, the second phase bans are the only place where I would really justify doing respect ban to that hero. Right. And they were too, they probably have PTSD over that Brood pick, right? So they're just saying, okay, we ban out the Brood in the second game for sure. And they're probably not thinking about it right now. It also depends on the performance this game. But I mean, this is like, their life is on the line in this series. If they lose this game, they're going to be dropping to the lower bracket.
One of the very few times you see a support being allowed to pick up that bounty rune. And obviously Wisp picking it up for that quick bottle, being delivered out. And so Nico's trying to snipe this. No, it looks like not. A very interesting spot for him to start the game at. I'm not sure what exactly he's looking for. But okay.
Well, he will see at the very least that there's going to be an aggressive tri-lane coming out from the side of Alliance, and there is not really a whole heck of a lot an Earthshaker is going to be able to do against this. And assuming they control the lane, they should be able to keep Funnick low level for a fairly long time.
Yeah. Being completely zoned out of experience range. Meanwhile, Soneko does have the boots, and of course Arctic Bird being a way to fly over the cliff if he wants to go on the Viper right now. Viper actually did not put his first point in Corrosive Skin, and he's eating a lot of extra lightning damage because of it.
Well, I don't think the magic resistance itself is what matters at the first point, although it is technically, it is the most valuable point in terms of flat-out magic resistance. I think just having the capability of orb walking is pretty nice. Artstyle coming in with a side with the Chen, gets a stomp off onto Pycat. The stun's going to follow it up from Dendi. The Nightmare to save. Is it going to be enough to keep Pycat up? It will not. Dendi secures the first blood, and Chen also is able to take out Ake, so 2 very fast kills going the way of Na'Vi.
One of the best start that Na'Vi could have hoped for, and that's going to be Dendi's bottle immediately. And whatever Viper could throw as Raz is going to get shrugged off as a result. Also, with the offensive Chen, not only is he putting pressure on both the mid and top lane simultaneously, he is essentially securing the top rune because it's so dangerous for any support or Viper alone to go to check the top rune. So right now, I think Na'Vi in the past minute or so has really secured their early game.
Well, I think that one rotation was very good for them, but let's not forget what happened in game 1, right? Like, Alliance had an amazing start, and Na'Vi managed to pull it back.
That's definitely true.
I think that this game, without the use of that kind of niche Broodmother pick, they might not be able to have that stranglehold on the game like they did for so long, just because of that Brood. Could be seeing a very, very back-and-forth game.
On the bottom lane, how's that Earthshaker doing? He's managed to actually get level 3, mostly thanks to the fact that Bane as well as the Wisp rotated to the side, and he was able to get his key levels. Levels is not that important for a Shaker. He really just wants the blink.
It's pretty important. I mean, having extra levels on the Aftershock is still very
It's true,
key.
but it's not like, for example, Centaur getting 6, right? You really just want the gold, and gold is something that he won't get this game, at least not with the current setup. But looks like effing mad. That fissure was well off, and looks like he should be able to run away. Arctic Burn just coming off cooldown in a couple of seconds.
I'm just saying, that wasn't a Sonico fissure.
No.
He would have found a way to block him with that somehow. I don't know how, but it would have happened.
Sonico Fissure.
But that actually should have been a kill, which is a fair point to mention. Like, if you let somebody walk away like that, and you have 3 heroes kind of walking around in the jungle trying to commit to that, it's not great. So even though Funix managed to get some from his lane, he needs to be more on point with his usage.
How's that top lane doing? Beastmaster actually being able to equalize on farm, but I think as Havos gets more levels, that flat cannon is gonna be more and more difficult for him to deal against.
I think Bulldog picks up a bottle here, though. Yeah, he's got it in his inventory already, so if he wants to do bottle crowing and such, he can. Viper is not really the hero who abuses the crow too much, so if he wants to be able to sustain himself here, it shouldn't be too difficult. And they're even going to spot out Havos in this top lane. Could be looking at the first kill for the side of Alliance here in game number 2. Bulldog taking some damage from the Rocket Barrage, who just kited out so far. Throws out a boar. Bulldog will get the last hit, and Alliance are on the board.
Very good play by effing Matt. He saved his Nightmare just in case if any supports from Navi's side come in, and then they would actually get 2 kills. Instead of just Nightmaring the Gyro, they would Nightmare the support.
Well, not only that, but just in case the Gyro managed to get too far away. Like, you technically want to save your Nightmare for if the target gets too far to attack anymore, and you use it at like the last second.
Or he also decides to TP out, because that was their only stun, so...
Yep.
Well played on multiple ends. Pycat actually recovers fairly decently, not on the CS chart because he's down behind by quite a bit, but at least on the level department, he's holding his own in the lane. That magic stick is going to help out in terms of the survival department as well.
He's going to need a gank, though. Like,
Yeah.
there's no way he just wins this lane from the start that he's had. And Sonico is going to spot out fucking Mad here on the high ground. He's eating a couple of auto attacks from that Arctic Burn. Dendi, not enough mana to throw out another spell. Brain Sap to equalize the health for the time being. Throws out a Nightmare, too, to keep himself safe.
Oh.
Funnick with the Fissure. Does that actually block? Oh my god, it actually does.
He's not salving up.
He was not going to live. No
Okay.
way. That was a very, very nice Fissure from Funnick. Much better than the first one.
Well, you're saying that Pycat needs a gank here, but it seems like every attempt that Alliance has rotated supports Sonico, and to a certain extent, Funnick is also always here.
Well, I just meant he would need a gank if he wanted to really win the lane.
Right, but I'm saying these ganks are helping him lose the lane further, because Dendi appreciates the free kills that he's getting.
Yeah, that is very true. But we can also see that the farm isn't too bad from Alliance. The Wraith King and the Beastmaster are still farming pretty well. It's not as if it's a huge advantage for Na'Vi in terms of who's farming what lane. And Viper is still recovering a little bit, so that time that Dendi spent chasing around, he does get a kill, but Pycat has managed to close the gap in terms of CS.
So in the past, when we see Wraith King carries, it's generally a Blink Dagger first.
Bottom lane.
Yep, nice stun here and open it up, but here comes a Centaur. In fact, the Centaur is not going to hit the stun on Ake. He will go down to Havos Gyrocopter. The Rocket's going to come down, call down being gone at level 6 after that kill. Havos turns thing around.
Artstyle's rotation so far have been on point. I don't know if it was just happenstance that the first one kind of went that way, but he walked right into the supports as they were ganking mid, and Pycat in a lot of trouble here. One more bottle charge from Dendi should be able to seal the kill, but not going to be able to pop it though because of that pesky level 3 Corrosive skin.
So given how the game's going, is Blink the
Actually, does level 3 Corrosive stop bottle?
You need more than 20 damage, I want to say, to stop the bottle?
So actually I don't think it does. Maybe it does. I don't know. I don't play against enough Viper. Who knows?
Lucky man.
Yeah.
One of those heroes that nobody wants to play or play against.
And things have kind of quieted down at least a little bit. There's a couple of kills here and there, but I think that Na'Vi are the ones with the Chen. Like, they're controlling the lanes really well at this point, and Lightning Strike gonna hit onto Pycat. Arctic Burn doing some damage as well. Bulldog's here to throw out a couple of axes, but they're going to be able to take down Pycat anyway. The stun follow-up from Dendi, and now they want to try to kill Artstyle. He's very low at the moment. Gets put inside of the Cold Embrace, and we'll be fine. And I gotta say, it seems like 2 games in a row, the last pick from Na'Vi is just doing the most amount of work in the early game.
Yeah, I mean, Chen is one of those heroes you want to pick once you have secured the lanes, and or if those cores don't really need help. But so he could focus on jungling. But this game, he's primarily focusing on ganking, and it's working out. A big part of that gank was also Sonico having a double damage with his Arctic Burn. He was dishing out a ton of damage from a support standpoint. So right now, Gyro's farming well. Leshrack's farming extremely well. And Earthshaker, you know, he's getting his levels. He's gonna get Soul Ring as well, so I think Na'Vi is very happy with how the game's going, and obviously the 6-1 is just icing on the cake.
It seems like there have been a lot of kills, but we haven't really seen any towers dropping yet. The farm rates are still pretty consistent on both teams. The only thing that's a little bit worrisome is Pycat is getting held down a heck of a lot. But, I mean, putting that much emphasis on the Viper, I don't really think Viper's that good of a comeback hero, if that makes sense. Like, playing from behind on that hero, it's like, It doesn't really feel that great, because you kind of want mech, you want tanky items, you want to be able to go for your Aghanims as well, eventually, be able to just kite out people in the fights. And I think if Navi keep applying pressure like this, he will probably be the one that suffers the most.
One of those heroes that needs to play from ahead, needs to be tanky, and he's not getting it. I mean, the tower eventually will come from Navi, because they have a Chen. They have Leshrac with the Diabolic Edict at some point, so I'm worried for Alliance. Again, second game in a row, I'm asking, you know, what is the catch-up mechanic here for Alliance was?
They do have the Wraith King with ultimate now. I mean, he can put himself in harm's way, get a decent amount of damage, maybe allow the Beastmaster to get off a decent roar, have the Viper throw out some damage as well.
It seems like he's going for Midas.
Yeah, he probably is. I mean, the Midas on Wraith King is actually insanely good, because every single point into reincarnation drastically increases how often you can utilize your ulti, and that is pretty much the bread and butter of a Wraith King. Plus, the levels also allow you to get more points in Immortal Strike. Gonna see a roar here. Dendi could be taken down. Sonico, he's gonna teleport in, react. The Hand of God already popped Cold Embrace, keeping him alive for a very long time. The heal is proving to be a little bit too strong. Now Bucking Mad might be in some trouble walking up to the high ground. Eats a couple of Arctic Burn autos there from Sonico.
Well, that's fine. Look at the bottom lane. All the time being bought, and you talked about pushing tower. Navi's pushing for 2 towers in a row. Yeah, that tower's going down without any assistance. And they'll back off. Midas is finished, but jump when you get Midas. Actually, getting Midas against a Chen is not too bad, but just the amount of pressure they're facing against, I'm not sure if this Midas will pay for itself.
I guess the counter argument to that would be, what item does he buy that actually makes him able to do anything? Because I think a blink, you're not doing enough damage and you're not tanky enough. I think having anything other than a blink means you can't really initiate unless Navi walk into you. It just feels like there isn't really a great choice, so Midas is still okay.
I think Blink is a fine choice to initiate if you have heroes like, for example, Gyrocopter that could dish you the AoE damage from the back, but there is no damage, especially now with the Viper very far behind. Also, Blink, you could blink in and stun somebody, but as we see, Soneko's been doing a very good job keeping people alive with Cold's Embrace, so it seems like this is the only choice, like you said. And are they going to just get reincarnation for free? Yes, they are. And there will be no return for Alliance.
They're just not going to TP for this at all. There's Arctic Burn going out onto Loda right now. Dendi is almost in range for another Lightning Storm. They're going to spot him out. Here comes the roar from the back, though. Funnick is the first one to get caught out from the side of Navi. He's getting chased down by the board. Bulldog, he gets fissured. Couple of spirits coming in from Ake, dealing some damage. Hellfire Blast and another kill finally on the board here for the side of Alliance.
I think Soneko wanted to actually wait to the very last moment to Cold Embrace, but Beastmaster kind of just died before that happened. So a very much needed kill for Alliance. And the fact that they didn't even have to TP is a little bit extra going for them.
They are losing their tier 1 middle in the meantime. Navi grouped up here in mass. Pycat walking in, looking to try to deter the push, but instead ends up giving away his own life. He does manage to Viper Strike Havos, the Spite ulti, before he ends up dropping there. Alliance will get the mid-tier 1 deny, so I guess that's a little bit of icing on the cake. And Bane now has his ultimate, so the Fiend's Grip now being available means that if they manage to catch somebody out, should be a pretty easy pick-off. There are a couple of ways to interrupt Fiend's Grip in this game, but Shaker and Leshrac are the primary two. And then I guess a Chen creep if you have like a Net or a Chen with a Centaur.
Yeah, I think the key thing is that, like you said earlier, these last picks from Navi, the Broodmother last game, the Chen this game, is just, they're not having enough answers. Or any answers. And for, again, a second game row, Pycat is just being shut down. And I think it's much worse to have a Viper being shut down than Shadow Fiend. At least Shadow Fiend could catch up and farm. Like we talked about Pycat, what is he really going to do at this stage of the game?
Yeah, it is a bit of a rough position, but I think these are the types of games that can be turned very quickly just by 1 or 2 fights. Because there's nothing on the side of Navi that just says, we will have a stranglehold on this game because of our late game carry potential, or just because our lineup is like better at this stage in the game than yours. I think it's more like they're just playing very well during the early game, and these are the games that have a tendency to have the most volatility when fights break out in the later stages.
I disagree. I think once Dendi gets his Bloodstone, there's next to nothing that they can kill him. I mean, sure, if they all 5 collapse on him, they can, but without Beastmaster's Necrobook, which he's still working on, the fact that there's Hand of God there's the natural tankiness of Bloodstone and Cold's Embrace. How are they actually bringing down Dendi? Dendi is going to be a huge problem in the front line. And that's also not countering the fact that there's a Chen Sen back.
What I meant was, there's a larger chance to come back in these types of games than in game 1. Because in game 1, you kind of had a little bit of an outdraft going the way of Navi. This game, I feel like a lot of it is play. And if they try to go high ground from Navi right now, as they are, and they aren't successful, it could be a very big turn for Alliance.
All right, we'll see if Alliance could make that hold. They definitely have to, as this Raxu will give so much gold to Navi, and not to mention the pressure they constantly have to deal with for the next, I don't know however long this game goes. They're feeling very confident moving high ground so early into the game.
If they commit like this, it could very easily be one of the shorter games we've seen so far in the LAN finals of DreamLeague Season 3.
Yep. And it's a good time to commit, considering that there is no call down. He's going to hit on everybody.
Oh my god.
And that wisp just melts. Thankfully, the respawn time is pretty low, but how is Alliance defending this push? They have a Radiance on a Wraith King. He doesn't have Reincarnation either.
Yeah, this is looking a little bit more grim, but it's only level 1 Diabolic Edict. They're going to be using the Cold Embrace to keep Havost up for the time being.
Is that a Dire Ward? Alliance is giving up this tower. This is like the, oh my god, our Raxus, or our tower is going to go down for sure ward.
Looks like Navi are actually going to take the safer route and maybe just go for the tier 2 in the top lane, which I think is a good play. The thing about their gyro build is, we just saw the little statistic there, that not many gyros go for Sage first, but they don't really have a frontline hero on their team, if you look at it. I mean, the Shaker, you don't really want to be in the front.
I guess the Chen creeps can.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like, there's no actual hero who absorbs damage. So going for the Sage and the Treads makes Havost that frontline hero that they desperately needed, because Dendi does not want to be that guy just yet, even though he is closing in on his Bloodstone. So
despite the fact that Navi did a siege for a bit, nobody actually lost any hero, apart from the Wisp dying, so I think it's still somewhat Navi favored. Right now, Alliance looking for a pick that would not find, because Navi understands they're so strong 5-manning, and there is nothing Alliance could do about it, so why split up?
Yeah, the splitting idea, I'm definitely on the same page as you. It's just, there's no reason actually to go anywhere else than to just continue applying this pressure, get the most map control that you can, because this is the last Outer 2 tower that they have.
Yep.
Like, after this, it's just full dark map for Alliance. They're going to get a little bit of farm in the bottom lane in trade, I guess, but not really what they're going to be looking for. Funnick also closing in on his own Blink Dagger, went for the last hit there on that tower, but didn't manage to get it.
All right, Wraith King's got 2,500 gold. Is there anything he could pick up right now to help out a lot?
I think Armlet is maybe the best bang for your buck. Then you wouldn't have buyback. So it's kind of saying...
I think if you buy back now, you probably just lose the game.
Yeah, but that's kind of where they're at right now. It's like you buy an item or you have buyback. Those are your choices. And having the Armlet could be enough to like go frontline and get like maybe 1 or 2 lucky crits, maybe take a hero down. But then you also have to worry about the Cold Embrace.
Well, Cold Embrace just got expended by a Centaur, but this Tornado is doing quite a bit of the work. And so is the Splinter Blast. Everybody's at half HP thanks to that Tornado.
Look
and
at the lightning
They can't
spam.
defend this. They're going to lose the tier 3 tower. There is no glyph in sight. What are they going to do?
I gotta say, this Chen has actually been like phenomenal for me. Get
Epic
FBF
Mad?
stun, follow up here onto the
Jeez.
Bane, just dies immediately. Winter's Curse being thrown out onto Loda, will pop his Reincarnation, gets the Urn popped on him as well. He's still being kept alive though for the time being. The Reincarnation slow on 4 members of Na'Vi. Funnick gets roared before he's able to throw out the Echo Slam, the Chen heal, and the Cold Embrace, keeping Dendi alive. And one more fissure coming out from Funnick, and that'll force the rest of Alliance back in. Okay, this is looking really grim right now for Alliance. Do they have enough damage to kill anyone?
No, they don't. Call down though. However, will dish out the damage for the side of Na'Vi. They melt the Wraith King, and Emerald Bulldog's going to get clipped by the lightning. Looks like that's going to be 1 Rax, and I don't think Na'Vi's stopping with 3 heroes dead. They have so much sustain.
I mean, from the beginning of this game, it looked like Na'Vi was doing pretty well. But to see a game end in 17 minutes, I haven't seen it here. Like, this is the first time that I've seen a performance so dominant that they were going high ground successfully at this stage in the game.
I think some other teams would have just said, you know what, we have the big advantage. Let's drag the game out. Let's get a farm on Gyro. Let's get the Bloodstone and Dendi. They don't need it. Point booster, Lesh. Let's push. They'll back out now, giving credit to Alliance. And honestly, they have a lot more time because I believe it was a level 1 reincarnation when Wraith King died.
Yeah, it was.
So he's still working with, the next 3 minutes not having reincarnation. He's still sitting at 2,500 gold, pondering what item he could get. And like we talked about earlier, there is honestly very little items he can get that will make this situation better.
I really do feel like a lot of this game goes just back to like the very first rotations when Artstyle went mid, managed to get 2 kills,
Yep.
and they killed Pycat off that. Like every time Artstyle went anywhere, it was just immediate success with the Chen. And when you have those types of games, it's actually very hard to fail. Like if you get like 1 or 2 really good early kills, then you just go back to farming. You've won your lane for mid pretty much just straight up from the level 1 rotation. And then your safe lane is still going fine for you no matter what, and your off lane is just a Gyrocopter versus a Beastmaster, which is A-okay. And you know the supports from Alliance, their rotation potential isn't really that great with just the Bane and the Wisp. They kind of need level 6 before they can do any real kind of work with the Wraith King and the Wisp combination. So I think Na'Vi, like, I don't want to say it was an outdraft, but it feels that way. Like, I really don't feel like Alliance can do much at this point.
I don't think the last pick Wraith King that helped at all.
I can see what they were trying to do with it, though. That's the important part is...
Well, 2 games in a row, Alliance assumed the game would go long enough for the hero to actually come into effect, which Na'Vi said no. It's not going to go long enough.
Well,
They're going to try to do a backstab, but Loda, keep in mind, he doesn't have reincarnation. It's down to half HP. He pops a blade mail, which gets damage off him for a bit, but the call down will hit on Loda, and Loda's dead on the back line. Meanwhile, looks like Dandy, again, unkillable. And I think Bane is just going to be forced away. He does have a teleport scroll, but I don't think he'll make it home as Funnick blinks forward. Effing Mad is dead as well. There is a buyback here from the Wraith King, but again, he's just buying back to call GG as Alliance just get dismantled.
Yeah, that was a sub 20-minute game. Like, I don't really know what else to say. I think Artstyle, personally, for me, in game number 1, it was Sonico. He played great. This game, the draft, the execution from the Chen in general, that really nice timing on the level 1 gank in mid, caught out the supports. Ake went down, Pycat went down. From that point on, it was just